What's up, guys? Reapshow here. So with the holidays rapidly approaching, I figured why not go through my top 13 favorite holiday-themed slashers. Now, slashers are my favorite horror subgenre, and I have a ton of fun with holiday-themed slashers. Now, this list ranges from great to so bad it's good, right? But I would honestly say I have a pretty healthy balance of the two. So, without further ado, let's get into this list here. Starting off at number 13, Uncle Sam. Now, I have a ton of fun with this film. This is directed by the guy that did the Maniac Cop franchise as well as Maniac, so you feel like this is the perfect storm, obviously, right? The poster is iconic, and the fact that we have a 4th of July theme slasher with the killer dressed up like Uncle Sam, I mean, that's got me sold right there, right? The effects of his face are pretty awesome. I would say the biggest sin is the fact that they put a mask on him. It's like he's really creepy without the mask, and the fact that they put a mask on him for a good chunk of the film, I think, is kind of a mistake, right? I think the gore could have been a little bit better, but at the end of the day, I have a ton of fun with this film. It's honestly a yearly watch for me because it's like, how many 4th of July themed slashers are there? And how many of them are directed by the guy that did Maniac Cop? So I mean, it's worth a watch if you haven't seen it. So number 13, Uncle Sam. Moving on to number 12, Blood Rage. Now, I have a ton of fun with this film. This is a Thanksgiving slasher. This came out in '87. Yeah. The practical effects in this film are the highlight for me. That's what has me coming back every time. The kills are awesome. The acting is schlocky. The film has a B-movie quality to it, right? But it feels like it knows what it is, and it feels like it's relishing in that, and that's what gives it its charm, at least in my opinion. So yeah, Blood Rage, number 12. Moving on to number 11, we've got Resurrection, starring Christopher Lambert. This is an Easter themed slasher, right? I would say this is probably more of a thriller. I just wanted to get an Easter slasher in here. The main points that I would say that lean towards it being a slasher for me is the fact that the killer is masked, right? And it's very gory. Now, it's definitely done in the vein of Seven. This kind of feels almost like a Seven knockoff, where it really does feel like an inferior version of that film. And you only really see the aftermath of these kills, right? So that's why it probably, for most people, would feel more like a thriller, and I could see that, right? But like I said, he's a mass killer, and the kills are very gory, and you see a lot of it. So it's a very serious film, and there's literally like zero humor in it. So I think it's worth a watch. I think it's a fun film. Check it out if you haven't. Moving on to number 10, we've got April Fool's Day. Now, there's not a whole lot I can say about this film without spoiling it. So, if you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's got Jenny from Friday the 13th Part 2. I think it's pretty clever with what they do, directed by Fred Walton. Yeah, not going to say a whole lot more about it. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. Moving on to number 9, we've got New Year's Evil. Love this film. This is a canon film. I love the fact that you follow this killer, and he's masked in the beginning, but he takes his mask off, and you essentially follow this killer. You know what he looks like, and you're kind of like living with him. It's kind of strange. It almost feels like it was not intentional, but that's kind of the charm for me. Like, they kind of fell into something interesting, right? The gore could have been a little bit better, but I'm really along for the ride, and that's kind of the charm with it for me. So yeah, New Year's Evil, number 9. Moving on to number 8, we've got Maniac Cop. Now, I love this franchise. I have a ton of fun with every film in the franchise. I even really like Badge of Silence. I mean, I know that one gets kind of hated on, but I have fun with it. I know that Nicholas Winding Refn was gonna do a Maniac Cop film. I know that fell through several years ago, but I'd like to see a new one. Yeah, ton of fun with this film. This is a St. Patrick's Day slasher, centered around a cop, Cordell, who is wrongfully convicted and put in prison and killed in prison. He essentially comes back from the dead, and just starts killing everyone. I mean, how can you go wrong with Tom Atkins and Bruce Campbell? I mean, you get a pretty awesome cast in this film. The gore is pretty good. The effects, the practical effects are also solid. This is a ton of fun. This is a really fun slasher. If you have not checked it out, please check it out. Moving on to number 7, we've got My Bloody Valentine. This is a classic slasher. This is one of these several films that came out off the heels of Friday the 13th and was kind of capitalizing off of doing holiday themed slashers, right? I prefer the uncut version where you get all the gore, and there is incredible gore in this film, incredible practical effects. I actually don't even hate the remake. I think it's okay. I think it's much better than people give it credit for. But yeah, ton of fun with My Bloody Valentine. That is why it is at number 7. Moving on to number 6, we've got Silent Night, Deadly Night. Love this film. Iconic poster, one of my favorite slasher posters, period. You get him coming out of the chimney with the axe. Absolutely love it. I have a ton of fun with the franchise as well. 2 is ridiculous. 3 is kind of boring. I like 4 and 5, and the remake is pretty awesome. I think it's almost kind of, I wouldn't even say it's underrated. I think it's just underseen, right? But I have fun with this franchise, and specifically, I really love the original. Just how gritty and strange and off-putting it is, how taboo it was at the time. Yeah, this is a yearly watch for me. So number 6, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Moving on to number 5, we've got Christmas, Bloody Christmas. Now, this is one of my favorite Christmas themed slashers, and it came out right when Shudder was just kind of getting big. So I feel like it kind of got lost a little bit, and I just feel like it's been kind of underseen. It's essentially Terminator meets Silent Night, Deadly Night. You have a killer Santa Claus that is like an animatronic Santa Claus. It's obviously a guy in the suit, right? But I'm telling you, this film is gory as hell, and the vibes of it, I love it. Now, I could understand people being off-put by some of the dialogue, right? It kind of feels almost like Halloween 2 if it was set on Christmas and the characters were much more likable. These people work at like a record shop, so you kind of get that subculture, which I love, right? But I could see kind of being a little bit, but I'm telling you, it's a ton of fun. And the gore is just awesome, and it just keeps going. It keeps going and going, right? This is a go-to for me during the holidays. Number 5, Christmas, Bloody Christmas. Moving on to number 4, we've got Terrifier 3. Now, this is an absolutely incredible film. This is my favorite Terrifier film in the franchise. Love the fact that it's set on Christmas. I think that they completely capitalize off of it. The kills in this film are absolutely insane. They look incredible. I think the acting is the best in this film out of the entire franchise. I like 1, love 2, really love 3. 3 is my favorite in the franchise. I love what they do with Art the Clown. They really play around with the humor, and it's interesting to see him do like mundane things that most killers, you don't see them do, like him taking a piss, right? It's just funny seeing him do these like just, mundane things, right? When he acts like a kid, when he sees Santa Claus, love it. Art the Clown is 100% a horror icon for me, and this is 100% my favorite Terrifier film and one of my favorite holiday themed slashers, period. So, number 4, Terrifier 3. Number 3, we've got Thanksgiving. Now, Eli Roth knocked it out of the park with this film. Now, this dates all the way back to 2007 when they did that Grindhouse teaser for Thanksgiving. We had been patiently waiting for it. Never came to fruition. Finally, they did it, and I absolutely love it. Now, you know, are there things is it perfect? No, I would have liked to see it be a little more gritty, a little less polished, but the gore is incredible in this film. I think the acting is fine, right? I think it's good enough. And I think it's nice to have a definitive Thanksgiving slasher. I love Blood Rage, I really do, but I wouldn't say it's like a definitive Thanksgiving slasher for me. I think it's fun, but I'm telling you, Thanksgiving is the definition of a holiday themed slasher. You get gore, you get schlock, and it's a ton of fun, right? So that is why it is at number 3 for me. So we're moving on to the final 2 here, and these 2 are pretty damn legendary. What's at number 2? Number 2 is Black Christmas. Now, Black Christmas is so incredible. It is one of my favorite horror films ever. I think that it is perfect. Billy is absolutely incredible. I can't even believe this didn't become a bigger franchise. I mean, you get a couple remakes, but it's like, this killer is so creepy. He talks too, which is something that you don't get a whole lot, right? You never see his face, right? I mean, Billy is iconic, and I wish there were more Black Christmas sequels, or any, right? Because there really aren't any. Yeah, this is an atmospheric, incredible film. It's so strange that like Bob Clark did Black Christmas and then he did A Christmas Story, 2 iconic Christmas films that are like a comedy and then like a straight up horror film. It's like really interesting, right? Love this film. It's like I said, this is iconic to me. This is absolutely one of my favorite horror films ever, and that is why it's at number 2. But number 1, Halloween. Now, I think you guys could have predicted that. I'm a major Halloween fan, but I'm telling you, when it comes down to Black Christmas and Halloween, they're neck and neck for me. It's really hard for me to pick between the 2. I mean, they are very close. Halloween's got the slight edge, but I always struggle. I always struggle with which one I like more. But I have to give it to Halloween. Halloween is so iconic to me. I think that Halloween and Black Christmas share a lot of DNA, where both killers feel of the elements. They are human, but there's something supernatural about them that you cannot put your finger on, and that is what makes them iconic and scary, at least to me, that you can't quite discern what is off about them, what makes them supernatural, but there's something there that's not entirely human. And again, love it. Absolutely love both of these characters, of Michael Myers and Billy. Yeah, Halloween is legendary. There's not much else I can really say about it that hasn't been said. It's absolutely iconic, and honestly, like, there are several more Halloween films that I would have liked to put on the list, but I'm not going to have the whole list be Halloween films. That's kind of why I tried to relegate it to one film per franchise so that it wouldn't be dominated by the sequels, right? But yeah, there's only one number 1, and it's gonna be Halloween for me. So what do you guys think? What are your favorite holiday themed slashers? Let me know in the comments. That's it for now. Stay tuned for more. Peace, guys.